Welcome back to another video. This video is being recorded on the week of Thanksgiving, and exactly it's the 25th of November 2024. And today's video specifically is about Catullus, a Roman poet from the late Republican period of Rome. And a couple things about Catullus here. We exactly don't know what the hell happened to this guy at the end of his life. We don't even know what the end of his life was, like what year. We just simply dated after 54 that he's long gone because there's nothing about him. We don't know if he got himself killed or if he just fled and just stopped writing, or maybe his works after these poems were specifically lost in time, and we don't know. But that is just wishful thinking. The likely conclusion is that he met his end at by by assassins, likely, and these were probably done by Roman aristocrats or Roman aristocratic politicians that did not appreciate his works. But anyhow, the date 54 BC, which is thought to be his end, is a bit dubious because he in some of his poems there's content of him stating certain things that happened that occurred in 52 BC. So, did he really die in 54? Well, what? See, this is difficult. But anyways, what happened to him? We just so 52 BC is likely the confirmed. Well, it's not really his death. We just know that he disappears into obscurity, and that's pretty much it that we have from Catullus here. And his poems, we have 116 poems in them. Um, and they all survived just in one manuscript, which is kind of crazy. And the reason I am going over this poet, this is my first time actually talking about a poet. To be exact, I have read Pindar, amazing, but I have not really made videos about it because I don't know. I just see I like to make videos that like I feel like I will make a video about Pindar in likely in the future. Now that I have done Catullus, it's only right that I have to do Pindar. I have done videos of the tragedians, but I just took them down because I didn't think they were good enough. This video is being recorded as a discussion, so I did not really type what I was gonna say. So that's what's gonna make this video a bit more different from what was seen in my prior videos, which was about the Athenian constitution, which of course I had to take my notes and put it together in the script just to remember what the heck I was talking about. But anyhow, Catullus, the reason I just really want to discuss him is because he really is the embodiment of freedom of speech if you really think about it. Because you have to take into account what time period this man was living in, and he was his work is just so I wouldn't say beautiful, but it's just so like amazing and thought provoking in a way. Of course, it might be beautiful in the Latin because oftentimes my professor discusses about how things in their original language tend to be the best, and he advocates his students uh, to really get into learning Greek and Latin. Of course, he teaches the courses, he and his wife, of course. But I do want to learn the languages, but it just doesn't fit my timeline of graduation. I'm an undergraduate, and I graduate in the spring of 2025 to be exact. So I'm in a rush to get my bachelor's. So yeah, I'm unsure if I would get my master's degree. I am a criminology major, by the way. I am not philosophy, humanities, or whatever. I do love humanities, so don't get me wrong. One of the few de- departments I feel people should be educated in, but it probably will not occur. So that's why I've been saying in my Athenian Constitution videos for you to read the main sources because I am not a professional at this. because first of all, it's not even my chosen career field. It's just something I really got into in my time at on campus, and I decided to start making videos about this so I can just do something with them. Because I have a absurd collection of books. But anyhow, enough about that. Because we're already 5 minutes in, and this video is not meant to be that long. So anyhow, Catullus, Roman poet. His verses tend to be a little. They tend to be short and witty. Um, Primarily, his poems are. You can say they compose of three distinct genres. One of them is more romantic, and another one he just talks about. Um, I just read the poem. It's more like if you read Homer, like mythical in a way, because he was talking about Achilles and whatnot. He also went over the importance of marriage and whatnot and chastity. So he's a really unique figure to say the least. His most well-known poem is actually the one about his lover Lesbia, which is rumored to be about a Roman woman that existed in the same time period in the Julius Caesar and Pompey and Crassus era, which is the late Republican period, where she's the wife of Metellus, and I believe Metellus is an aristocrat. He comes from an aristocrat family, the Metelli. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I've been learning a lot about this entire Republican period of Rome, from all the way from the kings and whatnot. So it's a lot to remember in just a short 4 months. But anyhow, yeah, this woman's name is Claudia, and that's pretty much all we have. But it's unlikely that it was about that Claudia in specific, because in the Claudian family there were, I believe, three Claudias. You're wondering, well, who the heck names their daughters all the same name? Well, look at it this way. Rome had a unique way of naming, and the whole last name thing is a whole video on its own. But basically, um, the women would all be the same name, but the only thing that would differentiate them would be these unique nicknames. So, like, the oldest would be called Claudia Major, which is just Claudia the Elder, and the youngest would be called Claudia Minor, which is Claudia the Younger. And if there was a third, it would be Claudia Prima, and so on, and so on. So it's a unique naming system. It's more like a nickname than anything, because major, prima, and minor are all Latin words, I believe, and they're just really meant to be like one, two, three. But the reason the lesbian one is so notable is because it's of its romanticism, and mainly because it gives us um, a detailed description of Catullus' love life. That's the reason we know about Catullus and about his life is really because of his poems. So, in his first poem, he critiques this person called Cornelius Nepos for making a history of the world, and he critiques him for it being 3 volumes. And the reason for the critique is you're making a history of of the world, history of the whole entire world, but it's only 3 volumes long, and he kind of ridicules him for that. He also has one where he's it seems like a response to to something Cicero said about him, but it's not really disrespectful or anything. He just like it's more like an innocent mocking, or just like acknowledging Cicero's reply statement. And then there's one about Pompey where he goes, "Ooh, it's brutal," and I don't think it's appropriate to mention that, but. And then there's also the one about the sparrow, which is also not appropriate to talk about. This is why you should probably read the source after or before you watch these videos, because I don't not like to go into them. I don't like going further into depth when talking about this because it takes away from the point of the discussion here. So you should probably read it one for your own enjoyment, two for your own understanding, and three just to develop your own interpretation of the contents. But yes, there's also one where he also critiques Julius Caesar, or just talks about his exploits at Gal, and then there's one where he talks about Julius Caesar and his I forgot Mamur. I don't remember his name, but he's just like a think about him as an engineer. He was the one that helped Julius Caesar build the bridge to cross the Rhine, and he pretty much critiques them both and kind of mocks them being like both sinister people and how like sinister parishes love to stick together. And yeah, but overall, like the bravado, like the way he expressed and like you gotta really think about what time period this. He's not doing this in the United States of America where you can pretty much speak your mind and mock people all you want. Pretty much, of course, freedom of speech is limited. By the way, we do not have entire freedom of speech. That's mainly because I know this because one, I study criminal law, criminology per se, and three, because you can't really say all you want about people without um getting an email or something in the mail that, that will probably warn you to stop speaking on the subject or face the consequences. And in other countries, well, you simply poof disappear. But anyhow, that's besides the point here. Um, yeah, really he was actively writing about just what he wanted to. Catullus reminds me a lot about um, this painter artist. I'll call him a painter. What's his name? His name is Jean Basquiat. Basquiat. Jean Michel Basquiat. Um, if you don't know who this is, he's a really well known painter from I believe the New York area. And the way I say him and Catullus are pretty similar is just because the two just write about and well in Catullus' case he writes about what he thinks or what he sees or what moments he went through. And in those moments he could talk about his love life. Um he could talk about critiquing the politics in Rome or just criticize people who are talking bad about him because he also does go really heavily and deeply into like um, masquerading people for talking badly about the way he writes his poems and the way he and Basque is similar to I don't even know if I'm pronouncing his last name right, so forgive me if I am not. But yeah, if you see his paintings, like you would be like, "What the heck is going on?" But if you hear the stories about it, like what those works means, you're like, "Wow, this guy really just painted what he thought or what he like just lived through," and like that's just beautiful to me, honestly. Like the fact that you could like turn your livable experience to something like so so I don't know. It's just like something like you're projecting it, and like vividly, you have people generations later just like, wow, what was this guy really? What was he on about? Like, like who? What made him do all this? Yeah, it's really simple. They were just living their life, and overall, he is just the embodiment of freedom of speech for me, in my opinion. Like, there's something marvelous about this poet, and there's something that will never be seen in the Roman Empire. Because he can't critique the emperors, remember, and or the family of the monarchs, because off with your head, pretty much. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to discuss here. Not exactly the poems in length, but just a discussion here. It was overall an interesting read. Probably one of my favorites. I haven't read something like this that has really captivated me since the Place of the Tragedians. I had read Pindar, but um, the poems weren't really too captivating for me. They were decent, but I might have to look back into them to see if my opinion about them were wrong or, well, there's no wrong opinion. But anyways, yeah. Let's not go into that route. But that pretty much concludes this video, and I need to get into the next one. So peace out.